Hey guys, it's Mr. H again, and I apologize that you guys are stuck with another video today. Hopefully, I was hoping to be back today, but I should almost definitely be back tomorrow if everything goes according to plan. Okay, so let's get started here. Today, we're doing some more stuff with percents. Specifically, we're going to be doing simple interest, and I want to remind you guys really quick from yesterday that when dealing with percents, to change from a percent into a decimal, you move the decimal point 2 spaces to the left. So for example, 3%, the decimal point will be at the end of the number, and I'd move it once, twice. Now in doing so, that creates a void right here, which we fill with the 0, and so 3% becomes 0.03 as a decimal. Okay? So the formula that we're going to be using today for simple interest is this. I equals PRT. Now I stands for interest. P stands for principal. R stands for your rate. And I'm going to add a little bit something here. It's your rate written as a decimal. Okay, so that's why I wanted to review how to change from a percent to a decimal. And then lastly, T stands for time. Okay, so with that being said, let's take a look and see how this works out. So, first question here, it says $400 is invested for 1 year in an account earning 5% simple interest. Key points here is $400, it's invested for a year, and we're earning 5% simple interest. Now, remember, these are the things that we want to be looking at when we're doing our problems. We want to be looking at the interest, the principal, the rate, and the time. Okay? We're going to need 3 of those to figure out the 4th. So in this particular problem here, they're telling us that $400 invested, that's going to be our principal. 1 year, that's going to be our time. And an account earning 5% simple interest, that's going to be our rate. Now we will have to change it to a decimal. We'll do that in a second. So if we follow our formula here, I equals PRT, we get I for interest, which we don't know, equals P, our principal, so that's 400, times R, which is our rate. Now remember, R is the rate written as a decimal, so 5% means our decimal is not visible, which means it's at the end. So if I move it twice, 5% becomes 0.05 as a decimal. So we're going to put 0.05. And then lastly is T, which in this case is just 1 year. So to figure out our interest, whoops, let me write that a little bit neater. To figure out our interest, all we have to do is 400 times 0.5 times 1. And in doing so, we get $20. So if we go over here to answer our question, it says interest earned. Well, we earned $20 in interest. Now it does ask for the account balance as well. Well, remember, our account started with the principal amount of $400, plus we earned $20 in interest, so we have a new account balance of $420. Okay, let's take a look at these next few examples where we have multiple accounts. Now, multiple accounts simply means we're going to have to do our I equals PRT formula more than one time for each problem, okay? So let's take a look here. It says, Ramon invests $1,500 in an account earning 3% simple interest and $4,000 in an account earning 5% simple interest. After 1 year, how much interest will we have? Well, we've got $1,500, which is a principal amount, 3%, which is a rate, $4,000, which is a principal amount, 5%, which is a rate, and 1 year, which is time. So we have two different investments here. We have $1,500 at 3% for 1 year. And then we have $4,000 at 5% for 1 year. So this equation here is going to be I equals 1,500 times 0.03, because that's what happens if you change 3% into a decimal, times 1 year. This one here is going to be interest equals 4,000 times 0.05, again, 5% written as a decimal, times 1 year. Okay, so then all we got to do is type this into a calculator, and we find out that $1,500 at 3% interest for 1 year, excuse me, comes out to be $45, and $4,000 at 5% for 1 year comes out to be $200. So, wants to know the interest earned? Well, that's going to be $45 plus $200. We earned $245 in interest in this situation. Let's take a look at part C here. Okay. It says Akita had $6,000 to invest. She invested some of it into a savings account that paid 2% simple interest, and the rest in a certificate of deposit that paid 6% simple interest. In 1 year, she earned a total of $285 in interest. How much did Akita invest in each account? Okay, so this one, we have a little bit of a different scenario here because we don't know the principal for each account. We know that 2% is a rate, 6% is a rate, the $285 is the interest, and 1 year, that's our time. So what we're missing here is the principal invested in each account. All right, so our two scenarios is money at 2% for 1 year and money at 6% for 1 year. All right, now I could use different variables for money here and money here because they're different amounts. However, if I use different variables, then I have more than one variable and I can't solve the problem. Okay, so just like the problem solvers when we're comparing things, we have to figure out a way to use just one variable. So what we can do here is we can use the fact that $6,000 is the total that was invested. Okay, so let's say that for this one here, the interest is equal to P, which we don't know, times 0.02, which is what 2% would be as a decimal, times 1. For this one here, interest is equal to, what we're going to do is instead of using a different variable, we're going to say the interest here is 6,000 minus P. And the reason we could say that is if I have, for instance, let's go off to the side here. If I have $6,000 and I split that into two groups and I put P dollars in one group, the other group is going to be the rest of the money, which is 6,000 minus P. So that becomes the two amounts that I invest. All right. So what we're trying to do here is acknowledge that. So again, the first account, we're keeping it simple. The interest earned is the principal amount times 2%, or 0.02 is decimal, times 1 year. The second account is 6,000 minus P times 6%, which would be 0.06, times 1 year. Now, we know that the interest from this account plus the interest from this account together has to equal $285. So let's see if we can simplify these equations a little bit and set this up. Right here, if I do P times 0.02 times 1, I just get 0.02P. If I multiply this over here all out, first, 0.06 times 1, that's just 0.06, okay? So the 1 doesn't do anything. I do have a group here, so I have to take this 0.06 and I have to distribute it to both parts. Now, if I do 0.06 times 6,000, I get 360 minus 0.06p. Now, this interest plus this interest has to equal $285. So the equation that we ultimately get here is 0.02p plus 360 minus 0.06p equals 285. So let's solve that equation. And again, I'm going to come over here and give myself some room. We have 0.02p plus 360 plus 0.06p equals 285. These are like terms, and actually, sorry, this is a minus sign right in here, minus 0.06p. So if I put these like terms together here, I get minus 0.04p, or negative 0.04p, plus 360 equal to 285. We're going to subtract 360 from both sides, and we get negative 0.04p equals negative 75. Then we're going to divide both sides by negative 0.04, divide by negative 0.04, and we ultimately get p equal to $1,875. Because the negatives just kind of cancel out there, and so we end up with a positive amount. Now, if we recall, P is how much we put in the simple 2% savings account for 1 year. So our savings account answer is going to be $1,875. The CD, the 6%, is the rest of the money. So to figure out this one, we have to do 6,000 minus 1,875, and we get $4,125 invested in that. Okay, last one here. It says, Samira had money to invest. She invested some of it in a savings account that paid 4% simple interest and invested $2,000 more than that in a certificate of deposit that paid 6% simple interest. In 1 year, she earned a total of $360 in interest. How much did Samira invest in each account? So again, similar situation as the last one. However, it says, instead of the total amount invested, it says she invested $2,000 more than that. So let's take a look at the two different types of accounts. We have a savings account, which is 4% for 1 year. And then we have a CD, okay, that's what certificate of deposit, that's the short term. And the CD is 6% for 1 year. Now, we don't know how much money she invested in either one, okay? But we do know that she invested $2,000 more in her certificate of deposit. So that means savings, we'll just use P times 0.04 times 1 year. That's that's our interest. And for the CD, our interest will equal $2,000 more, so P plus 2,000 times 0.06 times 1. Now, just like part C, we got to simplify these. So right here, P times 0.04 times 0.1 just simplifies to 0.04P. This one here, 0.06 times 1 is just 0.06, and then we distribute that, and we get 0.06P plus 120, which is what 2,000 times 0.06 is. Now we know that there is a total of $360 in interest. So that means this interest plus this interest has to equal $360. So let's write that as our equation. 0.04P plus 0.06P plus 120 has to equal 360. These are like terms. 0.04 plus 0.06 is 0.10, P plus 120 equals 360. We'll subtract 120 off of each side, and we get 0.10P equals $240. We'll divide both sides by 0.10, and we figure out that P, which is, again, is the amount invested in savings at 4%, is equal to $2,400. And that's just from doing 240 divided by 0.1 on a calculator. So, savings account had $2,400. Now the CD, if we recall, was $2,000 more than that. So $2,000 more than that means we have to take $2,400 plus $2,000 more, and that gives us a grand total of $4,400 for the CD. Okay. You guys are off to your homework now. I, again, truly hope to be back in school tomorrow. I'm really sorry for the absences, and I know this is not ideal, but I appreciate your guys' patience. Okay? Take care.